Hey, it's Christy Friesen. Welcome to my studio. And today we're going to make some glow-in-the-dark ghoulies. They look like this. And the reason why I make them is because they're really fun. They're such an easy project to do, and you may just want to hide them around your house so their little glowing happiness will greet you as you stumble around in the dark in the middle of the night getting a drink of water or whatever it is you do. And it's also really fun to share with any children in your life or childlike adult friends and make a whole crop of them just because it's fun. So why don't you come on with me? I'll show you the things we need. Then let's make one. It's so easy and fast. Ghoulies. I'm going to work on a tile. And we're going to need these clays. Sculpey Glow in the Dark, Primo Translucent. It's a white translucent, but either the regular translucent or the white will work. And I always throw in a little bit of gray granite for that nice, dusty, musty look that goblins and ghoulies really excel at. Okay, then you need eyeballs. I'm just going to have one little pair, and I've gotten them from Alert. I'm going to have a commercial now. My product line carries little glass eyeballs, and they also, you can also find little stone beads that make fantastic eyes, but I bet you have something lying around too. But I will tell you that the glass eyes are awesome. Then if you feel like making them steampunky, how about a few steampunk ears or assorted fun things? Tools, let's get tools. Cutting blades, some sculpting tools, and yes, you know those sculpting tools come from my product line, and you'll see them in work, and you can see if you love them as much as I do. Needle tool, tweezers are nice. I work on a tile. Maybe I said that. Who knows? A little bit of polybonder to stick those screws on with better. And finally, you might need a pair of wire cutters in case the wires on your eyes are too long. Okay, you got all that stuff? Let's begin. So I took my glow-in-the-dark and my translucent, and I did a quarter package of each. And I'm going to slam them together with just a little niblet, which is a technical scientific term, a niblet of gray granite. Mix that together until you get, magically, a nice blend where everything is mixed together. There's little dots and specks all throughout. The glow is completely infused. Now, the reason why I'm mixing the Primo Glow in the Dark, the Sculpey Glow in the Dark with the Primo Translucent is because Primo is a little stiffer clay. It's a little harder when it bakes, and it's just a little stiffer, so you don't get as much slumping as the Sculpey. But Sculpey makes the glow in the dark, so you need both. Anyway, so mix them completely together, and then with your handy-dandy cutting blade or with your teeth, depending on what's better for you, cut it in half, because now you have enough for two little weirdos, glow-in-the-dark ghoulies. And I always take just a little peanut's worth off of each bit, so that I have something later to add eyebrows or cheeks or whatever else might occur to me that I need. You don't want to have everything done and then need a little bit more clay, and you got to mix it up again. Not that that'd be the end of the world, but it's kind of nice to have this already. All right, shall we begin? Now you've got this, and all you're going to do is roll it up and get it nice and smooth. Get rid of any of the cracks, pick out any of the cat hairs that are inevitably in there. If there's dust in there, that's okay, because we put that little granite flakes in there just so that if there was dust, it would look like it belonged in there, because ghoulies are messy. All right, so now we've got a circle. Make that circle into an oval, or a pill, or a lozenge shape, whatever descriptive term you want. And again, I'm working on my tile because it's a hard surface. I can put it right in the oven on this. It's groovy. You can get them at the hardware store or wherever. Just take it and smash it down so that it stands up. So you see how it's kind of like a little bell-bottom flare there? That's good. Now I'm going to show you just the very simple, easy one that I love to make, and then we'll go over a few variations. After that, it's up to you to decide, does he have 3 eyes, tentacles, horns, wings? Who knows? You do. But in the meantime, let's start with the basics. So you've got a lump that can stand on its own. He needs horns or ears. So what you do is you use your little pinchy fingers, and you just start pinching. Now, if you just go, then you have like this flat thing. That's kind of okay, but not that great. So let's use your fingers like a pencil sharpener. So you just pinch, pinch, pinch all around until you have like a little cone sticking out. And we're going to do one on the other side too. Now, this cone can be a little demon, or Hello Kitty, or you can keep pulling more and more to get longer and longer horns, which is acceptable as well. But these can become ears. And the way you do that is by pushing that back down so that those things you pulled out now start to become a little bit more lumpy and blumpy. And you see how I'm using my fingers all the time to keep touching the clay and softening any weird edges. Fingers are your best tool, and they're free, so use them. So what I've done is touch, 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 boop, boop, boop. If you've got fingernails, though, that can get in the way. So you'll either have a very textured piece, or they'll be crying. Or you might have to cut them off. I'm sorry. Anyway, you've got little lumps. Now, those lumps can be ears just like this, or you can make them even taller by pinching and pulling and pinching and pulling and pinching and pulling, pinching and pulling and pulling and pinching and pulling. I'm going to do this one because that's where I've ended up. Sort of like a strange half bunny weirdo creature. And I'm going to flatten each of those into a little bit more of an eerie shape. Now that could have been horns, but it's ears. So there are several variations. I told you we're going to do that later. Apparently we did it now, but I'll show you more variations later, I promise. So there's his little ear bits. He's practically done, honestly. So now what we're going to do is put the eyes in, because you don't know who he is until his eyes are in. Now, you remember at the beginning I told you about these wonderful little glass eye packs. Well, let's get our little eyes here. And they do have a little bit longer, a kind of a little mandrel wire there. And I'm just going to take this and clip it off. And if you can, grab that and throw it in the trash, or aim it directly into the eyes of a small child. Don't do that. That would be terrible. So I'm going to trim those off until I have just little nubbins. Let me show you. See, just a little teeny, can you see? A little teeny wire bit. And now I'm going to just take those and shove them in. We don't really have to do much else to make sure that they stay in the clay. This little guy is not going to get a whole lot of wear and tear. He's not a jewelry piece. So just shoving them in like that and making sure that they're embedded into the clay is enough. So see, I've pressed him in. Isn't that lovely? He's slightly off center, but that's okay because he will probably have an ear that goes this way, which makes it all better. Now he needs a mouth. There's a number of ways to do that, which we will talk about later. But for right now, wide open mouth with crazy teeth, totally the way to go. Blade, try to keep the sharp end away from any arterial areas. Not good. So just take your sharp end and cut it right in the middle of his face where his mouth should be. And open it up. Beep. So now he is got a mouth, but it's kind of like an old grandpa mouth. So let's, not that there's anything wrong with that grandpa, but let's get our fingers in there and pull on that bottom area to create kind of like a lip. This makes him a little bit more interesting. See how I'm pulling that? It's kind of messy in there. Don't worry about it. It's polymer. Polymer fixes so easily. All right, so I'm going to pull, and now I've got a top lip and a bottom lip. Can you see? Hello. He's shouting. He's got his lips. All right, but it's a mess inside there. So I'm going to take one of my tools. Now you can use a handy tool like this, or if you have a ball tip tool floating around, that's a little one. Let's get a bigger one. That's even smaller. How about this one? That could get inside there and really take care of that mess. But whatever you've got is going to work. Even your finger is just fine. Smooth any areas of mess in there. Just use your fingers, get that all good. Take care, too, on the corners of his mouth to kind of smooth those a little bit, too. And if they're too wide, we'll deal with that later because you don't want it to cut all the way in half like Joker from Batman. Or maybe you do. Who knows? Anyway, so there's that. Now, this little guy needs teeth or tongue or both. I'm going to do teeth. One of the things that we needed was just a teensy bit of white because you want a little contrast between the glow and the white. And the white doesn't glow in the dark, obviously. So at night, you'll see this really neat little glowing guy with little blackout teeth. It's like going to a club where all of your teeth are glowing and other parts are not, and it's just strange. So it's just imagine he's a club guy. All right, I'm taking little bits, and I'm just rolling my fingertips till I have tiny little teeth. Then I'm going to place them along either the bottom or the top lip. I put it just inside. Can you see that? Just inside the bottom lip. If they're too far out, then it just looks like he's gargling Altoids, which is kind of a dumb look. So get them inside there. And you can have 2, 3, 87, whatever you like. You can experiment with fangs. You could do top and bottom, but I'm only doing the bottom because now I'm going to close his little mouth up and seal any of the edges that were too long. Because see, just with my thumb, I can seal those two clays together. It's very soft clay. And look at, he's got his little teethies in there. Isn't that fun? So now we've got a fun little guy with crazy little teeth, but he needs a little bit more pizzazz, right? I mean, he's pretty damn cool, but we need him to be even more dammer cooler. So I'm going to make him a little bit taller, and I'm going to tilt his head ever so slightly. Look at head tilt, more better. And now we can put in our little steampunk bits. Now, the steampunk bits are optional. There's a lot of things you can put in here. You could put ribbons. You could put little bits of fuzz or fur. You can put all kinds of jewelry findings or maybe a glass bead. There's so many ideas. But I just happen to have a couple of little gear bits, and I'm going to use those. Now, tweezers to place them in is a really good way. I've got these needle nose tweezers. And remember earlier I mentioned that we have some, if I could find it, Pavelka's Polybonder. That is a glue that works super well because it's a super glue. But it goes with polymer. You can put it on fresh polymer, and it goes right in the oven, and it stays adhesive. So it doesn't get crackly and dry out and then just fall out. So you put just a dab. Oh, and it's got a nail brush applicator. So you know when you're putting super glue on and it gets frickin' everywhere? Well, not with this. All right, so there is a little dab of glue on the edge of my halo, steampunk halo, and I'm just going to press that in, glue side first, and push it in. Now remember that that's super glue, so if you get it on your hand or your tools at this stage, you're going to have super glue all over your stuff, and that's silly. So just let it dry a little. I've pushed it in, and I've kind of pinched that clay closed a bit there if you want to do that. You can add more than one. I have this little wind up. Maybe that wants to be on him, but let's add another gear because we have it and because we can. So here's the second gear. And let's put a little bit more glue on it, and let's shove that in. Now, steampunk gears are really fun, and they do really nicely with the ghoulies. And I've told you, my little commercial, that you can buy them on my site. But there's a number of places you can get gears and reproduction gears. Those are the real ones from old watches, but you can get some reproduction ones, and that's cool too. Anything that looks good is okay. What you don't want to do is go get your grandfather's heirloom watch and take it apart unless he said it's okay, and you get another adult to verify that in case he's joking, because you never know with grandpas. Okay, so you see how he's got cute little gears on his head? Now let's go ahead and put a wind up because I happen to have one, so why not? Glue, shove it in, boom. You know what else looks really good too if you don't have a little wind up thing? A screw. You could just screw it right in the side on the top of his head or the side of him, and that looks really fun. So, bloop, there we go. Now he could wind up and just, he'd be perfect. All right, so one of the things that I didn't show you that you needed, because it's optional, are powders. Powders just add a little perk, but you have to remember that when you use a powder, it will block the glow. So you will have a little less glow, but a little bit more cute. So let's play with powders and finish them off. Okay, so the powders I'm going to use are coming from two more things from my product line. Any powders will work. Any pastels, chalk powders, pan pastels, they're all groovy. The two I'm going to use because I want you to think they're amazing and go buy them because that helps keep me in chocolate cake, is the blue, which is called Crash. You can get it in the set like this, which is the superhero set, or you can get it individually. And this one's from the Fairy Tales set, and it's this hot pink over here. I love those two. And we're going to use them to add just a little bit of color to our dude. You'll need a paintbrush, unless you're really good with your fingers. And you have tiniest little fingers. But paintbrush, and all I'm going to do is dab a little bit of the color and kind of knock some of that off, because you get a whole lot more of it than you think you do. Let me scoot back just a bit so you see. And I'm going to put this right around his eyes. Let's see if you can see what I'm doing. Boom, 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 boom. If I can see. Because most ghoulies love a good coating of mascara. At heart, they're all just a little goth. So let's get some good drippy black. Take a look. Now you see how it's kind of falling down over there? He's either been crying or been in a strong breeze. I'm going to take a little piece of tape and put it right where I don't want that to be. And it will lift it right off. That's a little extra trick at no extra charge. You can use tape to repair any mishaps of powder on your polymer clay. Works a charm. Okay, so there's our nice little mascara eyes. Much better, right? Now I think he needs just a little bit of pink inside his ears and on his lip. I'm going to wipe my brush. And a friend of mine that I just saw a few days ago, I've been just wiping this on random passersby or on my leg. But if you have an old little carpet square, you can clean your brush on it. Isn't that awesome? It was a great little tip, and I'm very delighted to know it now. So thanks, Gwendolyn. All right, so now I've got powder, and I'm going to put this right on his ears. Boom, boom. Can you see what I'm doing? Doo-doo-doo. I always put a little too much. Well, I'm supposed to put a little too little first because it's easy to put a little too much. So I'm putting a little on a lip, just the slightest little powder. Now look, he's got a little bit of pout lip and a little bit inside his ears. Doesn't that look more cute or better? Look how cute he is now. Come and see, everyone. Ta-da! Glow in the dark steampunk ghoulie. Cool, right? Okay, so I promised you some variations, and there shall be. So one of the things I mentioned was all the horns and the ears, and we went over a little bit of that. But I just want to show you some glitter on horns and how awesome that looks. So I'm pulling those little nubs out, just like I told you, and we're going to make them longer and longer and longer. And all I do for that is kind of squeeze a little bit and give it a little twist and a pull at the same time. And you have some really nice horns. And they look good curled up at the edges, but before we do that, we're going to put some little fun glitter. One of the things in that fairy kit I told you about is a holographic glitter. It's micro glitter. It's such fun. And it will get everywhere, so just embrace that. It's just the way it is. And what I'm doing is I'm dipping my finger in, and I'm putting it all over the horn, pressing it in. Glitter doesn't like paintbrushes very well, so if you're trying to put glitter on with a paintbrush, all you'll do is annoy the glitter and make the paintbrush sad. So get your fingers in there and just put it on by pressing, pressing, pressing. All right, so now we're going to show you his little disco horns. How cool is that? Can you see? Okay, so now we're going to do a variation of making eyebrows. Eyebrows are kind of the key to his emotional state. So remember that little bit you saved? Well, I'm going to use it to make little blobs of clay that will become eyebrows. And how you put them on will determine who he is. Sometimes they just like to make themselves, so don't resist. If they do, let it happen. So all I've got is a little teeny ball of clay, and I'm going to roll it into a little teeny mouse turd. And I'm going to put that on top of the glass eyes, or whatever eyes you used, like this. This is the sad or sleepy eye. He can also be angry, so let me put that on first to see sad. He's very disappointed. He didn't get any Halloween candy. And now he's angry because he didn't get any Halloween candy. And all you do is make the eyebrows come in like that. Now, since the next thing I'm going to show you is sort of a pouty face, why don't we stay with angry? Now, what you can do is leave them just like that, or with your finger, you can blend or tool, blend that right in. I'll show you with a tool because that might be easier to see. This is the Wow It's Awesome tool because wow, it's awesome. And I'm going to use it just to blend that right in so it looks like it's growing out of his skull and not placed on there by some Muppet master. All right, so there's his eyebrows in the anger position. Use your fingers to get rid of any tool lines that you don't like. Make consistency between the two if you want to. But experiment around. It's kind of fun to see exactly who they become. All right, so now we're ready for Grumpy Face. So what we're going to do with Grumpy Face is first make a little chin. So it's almost animalistic, not person, but it will have a personality. So a little ball. I'm going to put it down a little lower. So see where that is? It looks like a stupid nose right now. It is not. I'm going to take my finger and just blend that down. So this has now become, you can kind of see from the side, this is a pouty lip. Now let's give him a little cheeky business up on top, and then some sort of a nosiness and nostrily things. We'll see. So I'm going to take a little bigger piece. Let's see, about the size of a little pea. Turn that into an oval, and a little longer oval. Going to put that right on top of his pouty face. So I've just pressed it over the top of the pouty face. So see what he's got from the side? He's got a little pouty bottom and a little cheeky bits, and then use my finger to just blend that up, or tool, blend that up in between the eyes. So I think I'm going to have to go to a tool because I don't have too much room in there now with those eyelids. So I'm going to take my tool and blend, blend, blend. It's hard for me to see it and you to see it at the same time, huh? All right, so now he's got a bit of a blend with his crazy little face. The next thing I want to do is sort of the bridge of the nose, and we'll end that with a little nostril-y something, or maybe not. I might just let that become the nose itself by using powders. Okay, so I have another little teeny ball. This one's like a baby pea, turning it into a teardrop, Muppet style, and I'm going to press it on top of the cheeky area, going point up to the forehead, and I'm going to blend that in place as well. Let's make sure there's no lines showing. So there we go. He's got a neat little nose. He's got a bit of a frowny face. You can even blend things more if you like, but I like it as it is. And then what I'll do for the tip of that nose is use a little bit of powder to make something dark on the tip of the nose. And you can use just about any color that you want here. I'm actually going to switch to a pan pastel right now because there's a nice little brown that it has. And I'm going to take my brush and just put a little nibble of it right at the tip of the nose. Can you see what I'm doing? Get rid of the extra. Oh, where's my carpet square? Get rid of the extra and blend it in. It's kind of like putting on makeup, girls, and for guys watching this, it's kind of like putting on makeup. You put just a little bit on and then you blend it in to look more natural better. All right, so see how that looks all blended? And he has a little bit of extra underneath him. So let's get our tape again and get rid of any extra that we don't want. Ta-da! Now the last thing to do is put a little bit of pink on there so that we can see where his little lippy bits are, because that's better. Where's my pink? There it is. And let's get a little teeny bit in there. Whoop, that's too much. Boop, boop. You don't have to put pink on all the time. Let's get another brush, a little smaller one. But I kind of like it, especially if it's not much. If it's too much, it kind of looks like a clown, which could be the look you're going for. But there, now we can see his lip a little bit more. And he's got a little bit of a frowny face, which you can emphasize, come back, with the brown if you want. Let's put a little brown in there by right up underneath the eyes. And then we'll see those frowny faces a little bit more. What do you think? See? He's got more angry face. He's got disco horns. He's got an angry face because he didn't get to get into the club because his friends look dumb. Clubs are so unfair. All right, there's one more ghoulie and several more variations. Now, shall we look at one more thing? One last variation. Sometimes these little guys want a tail. I usually make the tail coming out the side so you can see it. If you want to pull it out the back, you can too, and curl it around, do whatever you like. But first of all, you make your lump. Now, I went ahead and put a face and everything on here, but I usually pull the tail out first. But sometimes you don't know until you see them that you go, oh, wait, this one needs a tail. So all you're going to do is with your little hands, pull and pinch and pull and pinch and pull and pinch until you start getting a little nub coming out. Now, sometimes you can make that long and skinny. Sometimes it's short and fat. The little creature will tell you which one. This one wants short and rounded. So I've pulled it out. I've kind of pinched it a little bit more by the base so that it looks cute and narrowed and then fat again, and just rounded at the tip. And then you have to go back and make sure it's standing back up again. So usually that takes a little finessing to make sure it's got its bulge properly. And there's his little tippity tail. So cute. And you can add stripes with chalk powders or pastels or glitters if you want to have a little stripy guy. But there you go. There's a tail variation. So now you've made some ghoulies. Now what? Well, you can look at them for a long time and hope that they will get hard, but they won't, because polymer clay has to be baked. And on every package of polymer clay, no matter what brand you use, there's some words, and some of the words tell you how hot and how long to bake it. Since I'm using Primo and Sculpey, the oven temperature is 275, and these little guys should go for at least a half an hour. 45 minutes is better. Always preheat your oven, and always use the bigger oven if you can. Little teeny small ones have the heating elements really close to what you're trying to cook, and as they spike to maintain temperature, they'll go above that ideal temperature, and they'll scorch your little dudes. So bigger oven is better. If all you have is your regular home oven and you're concerned about baking little clay polymer bits in the same oven as you make brownies, which, by the way, if you want to send me some brownies, I would love that. There's a couple things you can do. You can bake them inside something to keep any of the off-gassing of the polymer bits from getting all into your oven and then later on in your brownies. So I use an oven roasting bag that doesn't keep 100% of the fumes inside, but it does keep quite a bit. You know, that kind you cook a turkey in or whatever. But you can also use 2 pie pans together or a lidded casserole dish. Just remember that it takes longer for the inside of something like that to heat. So if 30 minutes was your ideal or 45 minutes ideal temperature for these dudes, if they're cooking inside something, bump that up to 45. Bump that up 15 more minutes to make it 45 or an hour. All right, preheat your oven. Have an oven thermometer inside because ovens are liars. Whatever that says in the dial, it may not be what's inside, and sometimes it can be way off. And you have just a small window between not cooked enough and therefore very brittle and breakable, cooked too much and starting to get brown and scorched, which is never a good look. Bake right on a tile or on a manila envelope or cardstock or a pan, whatever you like. I love the little tiles because they're cheap and easy. And that's it. Let them cool completely. And then you're ready to take your happy little group of ghoulies into whatever spot they're going to live around the neighborhood, to a friend's house, hidden somewhere in a bedroom where no one suspects. You decide. Happy ghoulie making! Bye!